In 2018, our family thru-hiked the entire Appalachian Trail. We experienced so much trail magic, is what it's called, when people reach out and give you meals and places to stay and carry your pack for you, all without charging you anything. And this was such a formative experience for us while hiking that for the last 3 years, we've come back for 2 or 3 days and tried to do this same thing for other hikers. So for the last 3 days, we have been in Franklin, North Carolina, cooking food for hikers and providing trail magic for every hiker that comes through in the cold and rain. So I wanted to provide a time where I can ask the kids what it was like for them to be around all of these hikers and what they get out of it and why they choose to do this with our family.
One of my favorite things about trail magic is, I think, whenever we put ourselves out here in the middle of the woods and then there's these people who all they're doing is just hiking and sleeping out in the woods, one of the my favorite things that happens is there's these little, I'm trying to think of a better word, but the best word I can think of is serendipitous moments that just happen, and they're ridiculous and funny. One of the examples that I can think of to kind of illustrate that is, this actually happened last year, not this year doing trail magic, but there was this guy who was carrying a harmonica with him, and he had a big hole in his pants, which you don't really think about when you're out here. It's just it happens to everyone, and it was kind of funny. But he brought this harmonica and he just started belting out this song that he had made up on the trail or something, and it had a hilarious lyrics, and he was just slapping his knee and using his harmonica and just singing it out in the middle of the woods. We were all gathered around the fire and making breakfast. We were standing in the shelter, and it was kind of a gloomy day, but it just made everything super funny. Another kind of story, but just something that happened, was the little kids were always asking everyone to race with them up and down the wood trails, and then play rock paper scissors with them, which is a small thing, but that's all we were doing. It was really funny. Out here just doing that over and over again. One of the reasons why I like it so much is, for me personally, when I'm at the mall or at a grocery store in a parking lot, just in what's considered normal life, there's all these safeguards that I put up, and I think that other people put up, just to prevent things like that from happening, because I know, at least for me, I'm so afraid of being embarrassed in front of all these people, and there's no way I would belt out a song or ask a stranger to play rock paper scissors with me. But out here, it just happens, and it's so great because you can't get that anywhere else. At least that I have found, or this is one of the best places I've found that you can't get that, and it is what it is. And I think that's my favorite thing more and more that I've come to appreciate about coming out here and doing trail magic for people.
So it's really cool for me that we're doing this, because the perspective is really interesting. From about 3 years ago, receiving the trail magic, just kind of really enjoying it, and finding it crazy how people take the time out of their day and spend money and energy into making food for people, for the hikers, and they don't really get anything out of it. But then having it flipped, us giving the trail magic to the hikers, it's super interesting because I do get a lot out of it, seeing their reactions, their life has been saved, especially in the weather that we had was raining the first day and the last day. I think it was raining all 3 days at least some point. That just made the trail magic a lot more magical, I guess. And a story that I have, it's not really a story. I just remember wishing that I was the trail angels when they were giving us food. If they were previous thru hikers, they would talk about all the spots and all the stories and give so much advice. And it's really cool that I'm the one doing that now, because the hikers are asking me you got any advice, or do you know what's next? And I just can tell them everything, because I don't think anyone else in the world appreciates it besides them. So it's really nice to have someone else to talk to about the 6 months of us hiking the trail. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
The last few days for me have been really fun, but also really draining. I don't know why it's been especially draining. I don't think it has much to do with like what we've been doing. I just don't feel super hot right now, but the past few years have been really fun doing this for hikers. I really appreciated trail magic on the trail, not just for like the fact of like it was really nice to get like real food or help or just a place to sit, but a place where you would sit down with other hikers and talk, and just the feeling of camaraderie and like gratefulness and just selflessness was just so strong and so tangible. I've never felt it stronger, I don't think. And you're put in a position where you are just so thankful and you need help. And I've just never been in a more place where like that was so constant and like daily. There was just this daily need and want for like that sort of thing. So I was super thankful for that part of the trail, and I think that was my favorite part of the trail in the sense of like what I miss the most. So to be able to do that for other hikers and like just try and blow them away as much as possible is like so rewarding, and it really connects me back to like how I used to feel that way. And it's just fun, like being in Bellevue, Cincinnati, we like don't really get to talk about it with other people. It doesn't really come up. And when it does, it's more of like, oh wow, like they've heard of the Appalachian Trail, but that's it kind of thing. But like when you're with people who are hiking it, who have been out in the woods for 2 weeks, who like are starting to feel like the hunger and the pain and the hardship that I went through and we all went through, it's like, oh yeah, we know how it is, and here's some food to help it like be better. And I don't know, it's just something that we don't get much of where we live. That's a really nice feeling. There's a sense of nostalgia that I have always felt with like the past 3 years. It's so weird. I really miss people who we helped last year and like the year before, and I really miss the time that when we did the Appalachian Trail, the people that were on it then, because there's a sense of like, yeah, you could always do the Appalachian Trail again, but it won't be the same and it won't be with the same people. And I think that's a big reason why these memories and like trying to relive some of the feelings and memories in some ways are so like precious to me, and so like they just strike a chord, man. They really, it really makes me enjoy every little thing about like what I'm doing. It's not all fun and it's not all like easy, especially this last week. It rained a lot and it was like pretty miserable just being out there all day with the only place of like true like good shelter being the car. But it was, I would say, worth it, and it just means that like the hikers probably appreciated it all the more with it being as miserable as it was. So yeah, that was my take on the last few days. I tried making some video recaps of all 3 days that we did, and I posted them on my Instagram, and that was fun. They're kind of crappy because they're only 30 seconds long and it's hard to capture the entire day, but I'm excited to look back on those days and like just try and capture some of the feeling of what we had serving people and even hiking the trail. So yeah.
Okay, so my favorite thing about coming back here and doing trail magic is probably just like all the memories it brings back. I feel like every year it just gets like farther away, like the whole experience that we had in 2018 when we hiked the trail. Like I feel like we're forgetting a ton of stuff, but every time we come back here, we just remember all these experiences we had, remember what it was like and how thankful we were when we got trail magic or we experienced it. So it's really cool to help people in that area, and you can tell like how thankful they are. And there's so many like cool characters and on the trail that you meet.
There's like really funny people. There was also this lady and this guy, I forget their names, but we fed them and then they went into town, and then the next day the lady like made us this like spoon and she like wrote a ton of things on it, and it was really cool. They were super thankful and super like nice, and I don't know, that was really cool. There was also this guy that came on the first day, this group of three, these three guys. They were so funny. They were like the funniest people I've ever met. This guy named Sharktooth, he gives people like shark tooths every time he meets them, and he gave us each a shark tooth, which was really cool. And then this, his friend Greasy, I think was his name, he said he did Springer Mountain 3 times, which was really crazy. He was like, he did it 1 time, then hiked to this stream, then he accidentally hiked the other direction. I don't know how that happens. I'm pretty sure he was high, he said, or something like that, but he hiked the wrong direction. Then he realized he was hiking the wrong direction. He hiked up Springer Mountain. He looked at his phone on Guthook and then realized he was hiking the wrong direction. He dropped his phone, but he didn't realize it until he had already hiked back to his lunch spot where he had accidentally turned around. So he had to go back and get his phone and then go back. And so he had only hiked 1 mile that day. So he hiked Springer Mountain up 3 times. They were really funny. Anyways, yeah, that's it.
One of the things I like about feeding hikers out here on the AT is it doesn't take very much to make their day. I mean, you can hand them a hot cup of coffee or make them some hot food and they are just blown away. You can have a fire and a chair to sit in, and it just is something that they'll remember for a long time on their hike. And I remember being that hiker and having those same types of feelings. It's really cool to be able to be on this other side of hiking and be the one to give, because I know what that feels like and I know how much it means. It's really kind of a funny thing to be on the Appalachian Trail again and to feed hikers, because there's a lot of hikers that they'll come down and they'll be excited for the trail magic, and then they do this double take like, wait, aren't you that family? Or wait, do I know you? It's just really a funny experience that happens quite a bit when we're out here, because if you're wanting to hike the Appalachian Trail, most people do a lot of research ahead of time, and part of that research is to watch videos on YouTube. And since we've documented all of our hike on YouTube, a lot of people know who we are, and it's this like really kind of funny experience of just seeing, their face light up or just be like, oh. It's weird to like make someone's day because they knew so much about you over video and now they finally get to meet you in person. It's a weird experience, and really cool too.
Like, what do you like about being around hikers?
It's fun because like we know that we were like them because we did what they did.
What's your favorite story from the last 3 days?
It was really fun when some of the hikers stayed over because I didn't know any hikers were going to come. And yeah, the second day was pretty cool because it was it was raining, but it was dry in the end, and like switched off and on because we didn't know what to expect, and it was pretty warm the last couple days.
Do you want to feed hikers again?
Yeah.
What is it like feeding hikers? What we did for the last 3 days, like on the Appalachian Trail, did you like that?
Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was that rabbit came.
Yeah? What did you do the last 3 days?
I fed some hikers, and I boiled some hikers, stuff like that.
Yeah? Do you want to go do it again? When do you want to do it?
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Are the hikers your friends?
Yeah.
What did you guys talk about?
I don't remember.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
A few things, I think. I can't wait till we leave. And there's a bunch of stink bugs. And one stink bug climbed the head of a bed.
Really?
It was so freaky.
All right.
All right, I think that's all.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. For me, the reason why this is worth the 6 or 7 hour drive and the amount of money it takes to rent a place and buy the food and bring the family out here, really in lieu of another family vacation. You know, we don't really school our kids in a traditional way, like force reading, writing, and arithmetic lessons on them. But I feel like one of the best things I can do as a parent to expose my children in terms of education to the world and to people is to show them the types of people that really think outside the box and live in creative ways and pursue creative visions in a way that maybe they're not taught that you can by society or that you should. And the Appalachian Trail is just this magnet for those types of people. People that are going after it, whatever it is. But it is not usually just a mortgage or a fancy house or more comfort. And it's, I don't know, it's really a special opportunity for me to be around those types of people. It makes me feel less crazy in a way, because these are people that are called crazy, like hikers by definition. Like, they're used to dealing with family that's like, you're leaving for 6 months to hike? Like, how does that help you? Like, that just sounds painful. But what people have found out here oftentimes goes on to change the entire rest of their life, hiking on the trail. It's that type of experience. And I just want to share one other snapshot of a story. We were with this couple that we showed in a couple videos back that lived on the school bus. And they hiked a couple years back, and they just showed up at the trail where we were. I don't know if they heard we were there or whether we just ran into them randomly. And they live in a school bus. They met on the trail. They got married. And now they're traveling around somewhat nomadically, helping hikers. And they, you know, these people have had like jobs and accomplished things in the regular world, but they just decided that they want more than that right now. We said, hey, we have this nice rental house here. Why don't you come over and take a shower if you want? Like, you're welcome to. Back in like my regular life, if I offer someone, hey, you can come over to my house and use my shower, no one takes you up on that. There's all these like codes, like the politeness and self-sufficiency, where you kind of like take care of yourself and you do your own thing. But these people, like, sure enough, that was yesterday. Today, well, their cat showed up, which allowed them the ability to leave their bus because their cat wanders and then comes back, and then they don't want to leave their cat. But then they showed up here at like 10 a.m. to take a shower, and we sat and had coffee with them and just talked and shared ideas, and they're telling their story about how they're dealing with the government and immigration. And we just found so many commonalities in the way we think. But we're not able to do that with so many people because these codes of politeness and manners tend to like take over our lives in a way that I don't think I realized how heavy those are until you're with a group of people where those frivolities, they remain frivolous. And we're able to set those aside. And like, I hate small talk. And a lot of times I go to a party and I feel like 90% of the time is spent on small talk. When I like really want to get into it with people, I want to hear like, what makes you tick? What are you afraid of? And I feel like with hikers, for whatever reason, because we have so much in common in this bigger picture way, I'm able to just get into it with people faster. And I love how when you offer someone something, they're just like, yeah, a shower would be great. Thank you for helping me. And then they come and they even bought like 2 boxes of my books, and now they're able to help me. So, but we're just helping each other feels much more loving than being polite, and much deeper and maybe longer lasting. So anyways, that's our video about feeding hikers in the AT. We're planning on, I think we're gonna like make this a regular part of our year. We've done this 3 years in a row since hiking the AT, and I don't know why we would stop this because it's been so valuable for us as a way to reconnect to our own history and even to stay connected with these types of people, hiker trash, as they call it. All right, I'll show you guys the school bus if I can. Oh, the cat's in here. Okay. Oh, there's a kid under that thing. So I was just telling the story about how you guys showed up here to take a shower.
Yeah.
And how we could invite a lot of other people, but they wouldn't come to take a shower. But something about hikers, it's actually cool that we don't have these like manners where everyone's like, if you need a shower, you go and take a shower.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys, have you experienced, what do you feel about hikers or being around them, or what's different, or have you noticed anything like that?
It's a completely different vibe. I think before I came over to through hike the AT, people were offering me lifts and saying, do you want to come and take a shower, or do you want to come to my house, or do you want some food? And I'm like, I'm not used to this lifestyle. I'm like, what do they want from me? Why is this person being so nice to me? Like trail magic, the first couple of times of trail magic, I'm like, can I really eat that? Do I have to pay you? It was just like a whole different lifestyle. And then once I kind of got used to it up the trail, I think for hikers, there really is, like, it's not that there's no boundaries, but you kind of let yourself go when you're a hiker. You don't care what you look like. You don't care if you haven't had a shower in a week. It doesn't matter. No one really cares. So it's just a more friendly atmosphere, and you give and take. It's like, do you want some food? Yeah. Do you want this back? It's like you mix and match and just like swap things. And
do you find that it's a bit like addicting to be around that, and then when you go back to other, like the real world, it's
absolutely yeah. Since we've been traveling since we finished the AT the last 2 years, occasionally we'll have to go into towns, shower, resupply, and we find that we get a little anxious after being remote, kind of quite similar to the way we were, and a lot of other people are on the trail. We just can't wait to get back onto the trail, get back into the woods, and get around other hikers. We've really been looking forward to, even though it was kind of a spur of the moment, to coming back out here, but you kind of get the same excitement coming back out here as you do when you're actually through hiking. Just being back with the community, seeing the excitement on the hikers, and and like Lightning was saying, initially when you start the trail, you're still shiny and new, and then the further you get up the trail, you start you start embracing not only the hike, but the hiker lifestyle, embracing, you're dirty, you're dusty, your clothes are tattered, and, you can go, 4 or 5 days without a shower. And for a lot of people, that's a real new experience.
Which for the outside world, they look at that and it seems like they look down on that.
Yeah. I think it's where the term hiker trash comes from. I didn't know what that meant. And within like a few, at the start, I was like, I have to brush my hair and I have to like be, hand sanitizer and be as clean as possible. And then hiking's hard. You're just going all day. Like we were talking earlier, you're just hiking, you're eating, you're going to sleep. And, like within a couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, I just dropped that food. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to, stuff that I would never do, before, like hygiene standards and things. Because I think people are just more positive. Hikers are positive people, especially when you're through hiking and you're on this like huge journey. And just nothing really matters apart from hiking and eating and helping each other out.
Realize how few things you actually need in life.
Basically nothing. Food and water, that's it, and a good shelter.
Yeah, it's almost like that purpose of moving forward together replaces a lot of space we have to fill our minds with fears and maybe other things. You actually need other people.
Yep. I mean, if it wasn't for catch-up, I probably wouldn't have finished my through hike. I got to New Hampshire and I was just done. And I was meeting, I hiked alone, but I was meeting various people on the way up the trail, and everyone wants to help you out. No one thinks, I don't want you to continue. Everyone's on the same path, and you need, when you're having a bad day and you stop, there's going to be somebody there that'll pick you up or give you something that you need, or you can help them out. So it's just that different kind of positive vibe. And without the people on the trail, if I had been going maybe southbound alone, or had done it at a weird time of year and had met people, I wouldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it by myself. Definitely not.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Anything else you guys want to say?
That's like, think of your favorite song and then you can't think.
No,
then you can't think of it.
Best of luck to all the 2021 thru hikers this year, and enjoy the journey, and you know, don't think too far ahead about Katahdin. Just enjoy the journey, and you know, you'll definitely embrace and enjoy it better that way.
Yeah. Break it down step by step.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
For 5 months, our family walked 13 miles every day.
We became the largest family to complete the Appalachian Trail.
We encountered snowstorms, overflowing rivers, rattlesnakes, and the government threatening to take away our kids.
And that was the easy part.
2,000 miles together, the story of the largest family to hike the Appalachian Trail is available on Amazon and all major online retailers.